Welcome back. Ireland's first study into college students' mental health has revealed some worrying trends among our young adults. According to the Union of Students of Ireland research, over 38% of college students here are dealing with severe anxiety issues, while almost 30% are coping with depression.
It has also been found that the number on psychotropic drugs increasing fourfold in recent years. So what is happening to our young people and why? Family therapist and member of the Institute of Education, Richard Hogan, is here to explain why helping them build up resilience may help things. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Richard.
Thanks for having me on.
Startling results.
Yeah.
What did you take from the study?
When I was going to the study, of course, I have to caveat that with every study, you have to think about who are the people who actually, the demographic who've applied for it and how many people actually partake in it and who are they. It was about 1%. But what I of the student body, about 3,500, what I found from it is it really resonated with me in my own work, clinically speaking. I've noticed over the years an increase of young adults coming into the clinic looking for help because they're finding it difficult to navigate just college life and things that we might have thought of always as generally the rough and tumble of daily life.
Could that not be credited to, though, the rising mental health awareness programmes taught in schools and the understanding that it's OK to talk and that there should be no stigma attached to our mental health? Therefore, more people are stepping forward to talk about it. So it's always been an issue of that, at that age group.
That's definitely an idea, Laura, that I think has a lot of truth to it, that teenagers and young adolescents and young adults are more open to talk about it. But I think we have to be very careful that we're not actually endorsing it. And I think that's the idea when I see it. I've been working in the school system for 15 years, and over the last 5 years, you see a massive increase in literature around mental health promotion. But it doesn't really explain what that means. It's just you see a lot of posters around the school about anxiety and depression and even suicide awareness. But we don't hear the conversations around what does it actually mean to build resilience. We don't hear the conversations around how do you cope with anxiety when it comes into your life. So while it's increasing their potential to talk about it, and that's a great thing that they're able to talk about it, they feel more free to talk about the stuff that's going on, we have to be very careful that we're not creating a situation where we're actually endorsing it.
When you say build the resilience, are we saying toughen the kids up?
Yeah, well, we see resilience, someone who's resilient isn't immune to stress.
Make their shells a bit harder?
Yeah, they're not immune to stress, right, Simon?
Yeah.
Stress occurs when what's been asked of you, what's been placed on you, the demands on you exceeds your resilience. And resilience is your resources, right? And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So why is it that, that study and the kind of what's been elucidated there from the stats there suggests that some of the adults today, find it difficult to cope with general stuff that we might have been able to cope with, right?
Do you think it's a generational thing, though? Going back generations,
it's very complicated, Laura. But I think there's a shift from austere parenting that we got maybe in the 70s and 80s. There's a huge shift, and as a result of austere parenting, we might have said, as our generation of parents, we're going to make sure we're going to ameliorate that, we're going to fix that, we're going to rectify that type of parenting. We're going to bring in a different type of parenting, and we're going to be much more open and warm and protective and loving.
And is the fear that we've gone too far, though? We're mammying the kids to death now, and they're afraid of everything. Absolutely,
Simon. That's what I find. That's what in my kind of analysis of it.
But you talk about helping to build the resilience.
Yeah.
One of the first things you mentioned is model the behaviour.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Model the behaviour.
Yeah, the best way to teach your child how to cope with stuff is to show them. They're looking at you all the time. You are the colossus in their life in the formative years. You're the two pillars, and you're there, protecting them and helping them and also showing them how you cope with things.
That's a wake-up call for a lot of parents who usually try and prevent the children seeing them stressed out. I know in our own house.
If you think about what I said there, Laura, right? So resilience is about having resources, right? Having tools and having equipment that helps you to manage stress. If you take those away from the child, if an obstacle comes in your child's way, let's say, and it's not about blaming parents, but all of our immediate reaction is to protect them.
Of course.
Right? Your child goes to, say, try out for a play, or your child goes on the football pitch, whatever it is, and they don't get selected, your immediate reaction is to protect them, to go over to the coach and say, why the hell didn't he get selected, right? So that's normal because we have that in us to protect our children. But we have to ask ourselves, whose needs are we meeting when we remove all obstacles from our children?
It's almost replicated behaviour, isn't it? We see it even with TV campaigns. When the kid is sitting on the couch beside the dad who's eating a packet of crisps, and the kid's eating a packet of crisps, the dad cops that.
Yeah.
And he goes into the kitchen and makes something healthy. It's learned behaviour.
Yeah, it is learned behaviour.
And that comes to how we deal with our stresses.
Absolutely. And like, I'll just give an example of modelling it. My daughter was doing her homework there recently. I was out in the kitchen cooking because I'm an incredibly modern man, right?
Incredibly, yeah.
I love that.
You were in the kitchen burning something.
I was in the kitchen trying to get something together there that was palatable somehow.
Yes, yeah.
And she was, I could hear her protestations outside, and she was giving out, and all of a sudden she was standing in front of me, third class, bawling, crying, her homework is too much for her. Can I write her a note? And there's a beautiful little blonde child in front of me crying, looking up at me with her blue eyes. My immediate reaction is, gee, of course. But I had to think about it and think, well, whose needs am I meeting here? If I write the note, what's the message been relayed to her?
Or what do you solve?
Dad is always here to protect me, or Dad will take away all of these issues when you're right.
Protection.
And you're not, ever.
So don't remove the stressor.
Don't remove the stressor.
Key.
Help them manage it. Let them try to figure out first. I mean, that's really important, Laura. Let them develop, that's the resources, that's the resilience.
Yeah.
Develop those skills within them that they can meet the challenge, because we all become anxious. We've talked about it before, Simon.
Yeah.
All of us become anxious in our lives from time to time.
Isn't that thing, I know we've talked about this before, is that it's an old sports mantra, but you learn more from your failures than you do from your successes. So you have to let them fail.
And you teach them that failure is good.
Yeah.
So
that's the most
That's not the end of the world.
So perfectionism is a thing there where they can't fail, where they can't.
But at the same time, you're saying avoid negative reinforcement. So my understanding of negative reinforcement would be, I suppose, trying to manage expectations, but we can maybe go too far.
Yeah, what I mean by that is that, negative reinforcement is you'll fall.
Okay.
I'm not bringing you to hospital. This is what you'd hear in the playground.
I do it myself.
Yeah.
I do it myself.
I'm not bringing you to
all the time.
hospital when you fall. That's negative reinforcing that they don't have the skills to cope with what's in front of them. So they're kind of looking around, kind of going, well, I can't manage this, right?
Yeah.
So, that's
I find myself doing that all the time.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, don't go out there now, because if you fall, it's not me, it's going to bring you down the street.
Exactly.
It's so funny because
terrible.
it's a
And you hear
throwaway
yourself
comment.
saying it.
Yeah, but you hear yourself. I say it to my daughter climbs, and I say, "Careful, you fall." I can hear myself saying, "Oh my God, that's such a negative thing to put in there."
Yes.
But it's about promoting healthy risk taking. I mean,
And what about managing expectations? You mentioned earlier a child trying out for a play, another child trying out for a football team, and you really don't think there's a chance that they're going to get what they want. Is it okay to say to them, "Listen, it may not go your way, but isn't it a great experience, and get some fun out of the experience anyway?"
I think that's a really important question.
They'll be disappointed.
They will be disappointed. And I was just about a couple of years ago, I was on the rugby pitch, and this father had come to the match, and he obviously hadn't been there because he was so busy that many times, and the son was waiting to get on to show his dad, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't get much of a game. He got about 10 minutes. And I was watching this myself on the pitch there on the sideline watching this, and the boy came back and he said, despondent, I only played for 10 minutes. And then I was like, but it was some 10 minutes.
Oh, right? That's lovely.
And that just reframed it. And that's what's so important about, your parenting, that gift.
It's such a fascinating topic.
Really
I could
is.
literally talk to you all day about it, but unfortunately time has beaten us.
Thanks very much.
Richard,
Thanks,
thank you for
Richard.
coming
Thanks
in. Good to see you. Now, Richard will be giving a talk on this subject at the Institute of Education in Dublin on Tuesday, and all are welcome to attend.
I
Thank
imagine
you,
plenty
Richard.
of parents would like to go to that. Best of luck with that. Coming up after the break, we're going to be showing you how you can create the perfect capsule wardrobe for autumn. See you in 3 minutes.